We are live, says YouTube. They're usually right about that. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my first live stream since December. It was spontaneous. I had not planned to do this, but today, something else spontaneous happened. A spontaneous vegan debate, it looked like. You'll see for yourself here how it started. Right here, an hour and 28 minutes into Joey Carbstrong's live video, which was titled Live Tristan, you know, the don't want to say his name. Don't want to say that last name there. Let's see. Oh, he's been trying to get a debate with that guy. And not that Tristan, not the Carney person. It's a different person, a very famous person who I don't think showed up. I don't know what was planned. See, reacting to videos, question and answer. So I don't think he was planning to debate anybody, but he brought somebody on. It was interesting. I saw the first couple minutes, and all the while, I was already thinking, I'd like to do a live video. It's really in that mood. And then came that debate. I was thinking, I might want to do. I was already reacting to it. So I was thinking I could do a live reaction. Then when it ended, oh wait, I was watching like 2 hours after it happened. So I looked at the comments and found him in the comments. There's his comment. He posted a comment. Let's see here. But before we go further, I want to make sure everything's working okay. Let me know, post a comment if you're hearing me and
I don't know
Joey.
who you are. Like, you got a hot dog for a thing? Are you vegan or not?
Are we coming in okay?
Situation with Tristan is we're hopefully setting up a discussion next week.
So planning on hopefully gonna debate that other guy next week. Oh, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Can't get any feedback here. So, oh yeah, the comment by the guy. I was wondering who he was, but then when I saw this comment he left, got me thinking even more that I wonder if he is somebody. Wonder if he's a known person, influencer, And so I checked out his channel, which I want to do right now. We'll get some background here on this guy. Let's see. Who built the pyramids? I didn't get into this stuff. Yeah. I think it might be best just to not. So I scrolled down here. You won't believe what the holes in your game. Let's see. So there's some interesting stuff in here. Look for You have the choice to be empowered or not. Yeah. Oh, and he talks about that kind of thing. He seems to be a highly philosophical person. And so that's how he's going to be talking in the debate. He does gardening. Here, his latest video on veganism was 2 months ago. Right there. Veganism and the Mind Virus. Part 3 of 4. Oh. Vegan and authenticity. Like never heard. Interesting. So, where is the other one? Well, it's very. Is that a coincidence that he's got a video on that Andrew guy? Anyway. Huh. Let's see here. See, he does a lot of different stuff. So he's not your typical anti-vegan. Although it seems like he's against it. But for maybe some different reasons. Oh, look at this. Why you get thin on a fruit diet? Okay. Might as well watch that. I know the reason for that. I'm betting he will not have it right. Because it's, almost everyone would get that wrong. Well, it's because, fruit doesn't have anything. It's just sugar water. That's what people think. Seeing the Matrix. Yep. And fruit is a part of how the Matrix covers up the truth about fruit. He talks about paranormal stuff. He's actually going to use that in the debate. Woke. Is you woke, son? Well, veganism. Let's check this out. Just a little bit.
All right, so I'm gonna talk about a little something that I spoke about yesterday in my video on low energy and whatnot. But here's the thing. There was a portion or a section where I spoke on, and I said that certain fruits help raise the vibration of your body.
Oh yeah, I forgot that he mentioned that he eats fruit. I suppose more than the average person. He grows fruit, so he believes in fruit. So yeah, this could be interesting. To the viewers who are watching right now, I just want to verify that you can hear my voice okay, and this guy's voice here.
I'm saying, see, here's the thing.
And are we coming in okay? Because I don't know if there's a problem, then this whole video could get messed up. So, gotta know. Just post over there on the right while we listen to this guy.
Someone, and the reason I'm even making this video is because of a question that I got asked: if are you actually more spiritual, when you eat meat? And they said that giving up meat or eating meat didn't make a difference in their spirituality, or See, here's the thing.
I haven't heard this in a long time. It reminds me of 2010. When I was hearing people talking like that in the fruitarian community. I don't know about spirit or the soul, but I know that at least mentally, psychosomatically, it does something. Yeah, if you're really into it, anything you're really into, you're just gonna be feeling good. In 2010, yeah. Yep, before I started making YouTube videos. It was that sweet spot. That sweet spot. It was so good. I'm trying to get that back to where I was by just managing my life better. It's that sweet spot between discovering fruitarianism and getting out of the matrix. But before I got so obsessed with trying to get the word out, and then just YouTube, and all the troubles, and all the trappings and rabbit holes you get into online.
Spirituality, I don't even know if we can categorize it as actually something. You know what I'm saying? See, what happens with spirituality, man, let's say if you're more of a balanced individual and not so polarized to one end of the spectrum of actually something, because everything is basically nothing anyway, you're not going to want to eat meat anyway. Like, let's say if you did become more spiritual for the sake of conversation, you're basically not going to crave that type of food anymore. Matter of fact, you're going to actually eat a hell of a lot less. You know what I'm saying? Because you are now in tune with your body in a different way than the way you were indoctrinated, or in a sense where you're like your mentalities are basically, you have different brains all over your body, and wherever you're residing, certain things.
That will sound crazy to most people. The way he worded it was strange. But in a sense, that's true, because we have neurons all over our body. And those were once thought to only be in the brain, because that's, you think with your neurons. Turns out your brain is spread out a little bit throughout the body, and that makes sense.
Things require more fuel. You know what I'm saying? But if you're sustaining yourself in a more natural and holistic way, you're not going to require so much your food. Your body's going to be more efficient. No different than if you drive a car.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too. Although I don't recall eating less back then. I eat less now, but that all started like 10 years after I went high raw, high fruit. I was eating less protein, less fat, but still the calories were up there.
And you're going to have to fill the tank up every 10 miles, or do you have a car where you can get from like the East Coast to West Coast and not require you to stop at gas?
Still waiting for comments. Let me know. Post a comment. Can you hear both of our voices okay?
gas tank in their body go low enough to know the difference between if they need more fuel or not. Because half the time they think they're hungry when their gas is basically over 3/4 of the tank, and you're still putting in more fuel only because you think you need more fuel. This is just basically you not knowing your body anyway. So if I know my body, right, I'm gonna let it go to near empty or at least empty. You know what I'm saying? Where I can at least know how it feels to be empty. And then you'll know the difference between what real hunger is and what an addiction or a craving to an addiction actually feels like. And sometimes you're even dehydrated. So your body's asking for water in a sense where you're dehydrated, and it's going to send out a sort of rumbling pain, which is basically, you know, hormones being released to some extent to have you fill up with water, because water is basically the gold standard here. You know what I'm saying? You can actually even feel a little bit fuller once you put a little bit of water into your system. And this is all depending on, like, you know, climate and whatnot, and these things can have a pretty big impact in your actually is. You know what I'm saying? Even though there is a detrimental effect to the chemistry, but how are you receiving it? Are you receiving it with low vibrations? Are you receiving
to quote someone in my last video, he's sounding so much like a vegan right now. Yeah, weird. I would have figured this guy's vegan, but so I'm trying to figure this out.
poisonous to you? Then what good are you for anybody else outside of you? I'm saying, in order for you to have a better experience, you get what I'm saying? So it's all going to start from you anyway. If you're receiving things and you have too much knowledge now and you're receiving it in an unfavorable way, then you may have an unfavorable outcome. Because grow something with love, you can evolve this creature into something bigger. You know what I'm saying? Where it is, in a sense, wanting to be killed by a higher being so that it can evolve into being a higher being, because you're transmuting the energy. Most of the time, these indigenous people killed the animal, but the whole concept of prayer was them transmuting the energy. You know what I'm saying? So it's more or less like, you know, a tree dies in nature, falls on the in the forest. I mean, it just becomes food for the rest of the forest because it composts and decomposes there, all with the help of the rest of the environment, like the microorganisms and whatnot, and, you know, water and all this beautiful stuff that actually happens. But the way the animals are killed, okay, it is killed by somebody who you don't know the kind of vibrational state that this butcher or the person that slaughtered the animal was in. The condition of the animal was already and unfavorable for the animal. You know what I'm saying? So all these things are things that you have to take into account. The amount of time that it was sitting in the supermarket shelves. Sometimes to extend the life, they'll take blood from another animal or meat and put it into the meat that's already being a little bit discolored because it's already going out of date. But these things sit in the supermarket sometimes, you know, for a couple of weeks or a few weeks. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they're even frozen and whatnot. So you have to think about how are you receiving it? You get what I'm saying? There's certain foods out here that are actually very, very medicinal, such as the fruits, okay? And when you're taking in things that are medicinal, you may experience healing crisis. You get what I'm saying?
I'm going through one at the moment. Been a year. Got a couple videos on that.
And here's the thing, I'm all about balance when it comes to the diet part. I mean, you obviously don't take medicine if you don't need medicine, right? When you go to doctors, they prescribe to you medication based on symptoms you're giving them. They don't even know what the fuck is wrong with you. They're just prescribing you drugs, okay? Now, that's basically putting you in a comfortable, fake homeostasis state. Neutrality. You wouldn't even feel your body. You don't feel anything. But yet there has to be a balance between being heartless and being neutral, right? So when you start to look at what is God mode is basically just neutrality. You forget you even have a body. Okay? You forget you have a body. But then these little things you may experience in your body, right? Sometimes maybe a little inflammation, little low energy, maybe lack of, focus, mental clarity may be off, okay? Then, these are check engine lights. But it's up to you to diagnose it. And then what do? You figure out why, and it could be because of the GMO or drug shit that you've been consuming or thing in your body. When you may feel a certain level of in the clouds when you have fruits, and we talk about they come from a higher, place, like a higher vine, right? Think about this though. The summertime is not a spiritual season. The wintertime is more of a spiritual season, right? So what happens when you're in higher spirits? That's when you would take more of the grounding foods. Okay? So you eat according to the climates, according to the seasons. But at the end of the day, why, for example, when you eat fruits, if you're in a diseased or a high toxicity state, is because you built your body off of that toxicity. So it is now you're in control of that catabolic state. You can actually look lethargic and skinny from sickness that you basically have, or you can
that you're detoxing.
And the body is basically forcefully going into that catabolic state, or you can control that catabolic state. It's kind of like, you see how you think you know a lot of shit, but then you realize that you don't know anything, and in order for you to actually...
Yeah, that's Frank. Still need to know if the audio's okay. Can you hear both voices?
Like, learn something new, you would have to actually observe yourself and say, do I believe this as truth, or was I indoctrinated in this? So you have to unlearn things, right? To get to the point where you don't know anything. You can clear your slate. See, a lot of spiritual people practice fasting or meditation is for clarity. Why? Because it raises energy. To raise energy, you actually are more accessible to full power. Okay? Which is why at times you may feel in the beginning very weak when you are fasting, because your body is used to eating. And
yeah. Well, again, and he uses the term fruit diet, and he's not against it, it seems, but that's vegan. So it'll be interesting to hear this guy debating a vegan on YouTube, which happened a few hours ago. And right here, he joins Joey Carbstrong's live feed, live stream. Are you ready? Think so. We got an audience. Yep. I got confirmation there. Just in time, too. So thanks, Aaron. And we're just going to get underway here, this video. Here's how it all started.
That should be good. So I talked about at the start of the stream. Basically, there's a bit of back and forth, and Tristan has agreed to have a discussion. Zigzag there's someone here waiting. Okay, let's go. Hey, mate, 1 second. Let me put my headphones on.
Oh, let me see this again. I'll have this out.
Agreed to have a discussion. Zigzag there's someone here waiting. Okay, let's go.
So he used his name as if he knows him, but I don't know.
Hey, mate, 1 second. Let me put my headphones on. Here. Hello, Zigzag. You've joined you sent an email, said you're ready for the Octagon. You actually look like you're ready for the Octagon. You're not Octagon, right?
Hold on a second, because I'm hearing like 2 echoes. I don't know if it's because I got the...
So Seems like he knows him.
Let me just take you 1 sec.
Had some
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
technical
Two
problems.
voices, like it was like an echo. Here's my main question for you. So here's my main question for you. First of all, I look at veganism as a beautiful practice. You know what I'm saying? If people are not eating animals, and I've heard a few of your videos, but
What did he say? That audio's not sounding good.
my main question for you. First of all, I look at veganism as a beautiful practice. You know what I'm saying? If people are not eating animals, and I've heard a few of your videos, but I'm very curious to know, is this a religion to begin with?
Gotta hear it. I want to hear what he said there.
For you, first of all, I look at veganism as a beautiful practice. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, beautiful practice. Yeah.
If people are not eating animals, and I've heard a few of your videos, but I'm very curious to know, is this a religion to begin with?
No. It's not a religion. It's
What is your definition of religion?
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. That. What is yours? So my definition of religion would be something like it would be something like a doctrine whereby you follow a creator or something, and you have like these religious tenets that you adhere to. With
So I'm gonna be skipping a lot to get to the good stuff. We can skip a lot of
a
this.
philosophy that respects the rights of animals, and like it would be like being against the violation of the negative rights of non-human animals. So like you would live in a way that seeks to avoid products that violate the rights of animals, so murdering them, enslaving them.
Right. So yeah, because I was on the comments, and then when I asked the question, they say it's basically on the ideas that it is morally wrong to kill animals. However, it's still coming out of the root of right and wrong. And then when I look at religion, religion is still coming out of the concept of good and evil. So it's if something is wrong to do, it may be wrong for one.
And I don't think so. Religion uses good and evil a lot. They talk about it a lot to make themselves look good. Right? That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes in vegan circles. But that's not what religion's about. Yeah, they need an enemy, yeah, but it's really about God. Yeah, what is religion for?
Person to do, but not for another. For example, you know, I observe nature and how things work in nature, and I've heard many arguments you've talked about where we can do things to intervene as far as like certain animals that are, you know, infringing on the will of like other animals and whatnot. What is your opinion on that? Because there's a couple of things I want to cover before I move on into the religion topic. Like just animals eating each other in nature. What is your opinion on that?
So my focus would be what humans do to non-human animals. That's where I focus most of my attention on. Do I think that we ought to intervene if an animal is attacking another animal? I think that yeah, there might be some compelling reasons that we should intervene if, say, an animal is attacking another animal. I would put it into like I'd make like an analogy like this: like if a dog is attacking a child, do you step in and stop the dog? If it's a wild dog, do you stop and end we go to intervene? That's another question, but I do think we do have a moral obligation to stop an animal being viciously ripped to shreds by another animal. Yeah.
Are you playing God then?
No, just generally, like if you were getting ripped to shreds by a wild animal, I wouldn't say they're a wild animal. Nature, though, you know what? I'd probably shoot a bear if they tried to attack you. Yeah. And
okay, so because the only reason I ask that is, for example, like there's certain people who say if God exists, then why are there rapes, murders, tortures, and pedophilia and all that? Why are things not? So to give you an example, for like I have a garden, I grow food, I love to eat fruits, and I basically can observe an apple tree.
Anyway, about what he was saying there, a lot of people don't realize this, that well, well, some say at least, that God does not intervene in our daily lives, just lets things unfold. He's not controlling us, especially animals. That's pretty clear.
And it's getting attacked by aphids. Now I can go one of two ways. I can get chemicals and destroy these aphids, or I can leave the aphids there and wait for the carnivorous predatory insects to come and get rid of these aphids, which is what happened based on my observation. Now I could have been doing divine intervention, but then again, that would mean being a slave to the land rather than the land working for me. It's no different if I have a business. I'd rather have a business work for me than me be a slave to the business. So I have workers. I'm the CEO. I'm the observer. So as far as this reality, because there's things that people say when I ask them about the veganism topic, they say that it's not a religion because it doesn't have anything to do with like anything divine or anything like that. But in my opinion, if I decide to stop eating animals, it's because I realize that these animals are my brothers and sisters, and not because I fell in love with a doctrine or fell in love with the idea. Because you know how many religious people I meet, and at the end of the day, I dissect a conversation with them, and they're basically just rooted out of the fact that their parents were religion, and that's the reason why they believe in God, and they're religious, and they cut their veins for this Jesus. So if you realize God, then you are basically into all religions. So this is the reason why somebody say I'm religious. Is not a lot of people I speak to that are vegans are coming from ego, or they're just coming from a space where no different than a religious person just being religious because they want to be part of a community or just part of something else. So I have cats in my
Sure, there's some vegans like that.
garden, and
Okay, he's talking about cats in his garden. This part, I have a comment on. Good comment.
my cats
I got cats in my garden too, yeah. It's a hassle.
will rip a mouse to shreds, and then I'm gonna let you get in there because I want to just get your points on all this. And then the cat is not aware that it did anything that we would categorize as like torture and slaughtering and anything like that. They actually play around with the mouse before they actually like kill it. And they're so proud of what they do that they will actually bring you the mouse to show the master, hey, look what I got for you. But we look at that and say, okay, this is a human idea that I have.
Okay, right there before he goes off of that. So, flaw here is that he is not taking into account that the cats who are doing that are not wild cats. They are domesticated pets. That not only does that explain why the cat would bring the mouse to its owner. Animals don't do that in the wild. It's because the cat has an owner, and you're just presuming the cat is doing that to show off. That I don't think that's the case. And also, the reason that the cats may play with the mouse, not kill it, is definitely because it's domesticated. That does not happen in the wild. See, I think that the cats do that because they're running on their instinct, their old instincts. But those instincts are kind of rusty. And the cat, the owner feeds the cats. So the cat's not hungry. But when cats see a mouse, they always go after it because that's their instinct. They just don't know what to do with it when they catch one. And they might not even eat it because maybe that part of their instinct is gone because they're domesticated and we feed them their diet. They don't need to use their instincts to eat. So everything now he's going to say here is also flawed because he's not taking that into account.
Toward what that cat did, but that cat is just doing cat things. Humans, for example, as far as what we're doing, because I also see that you go, there's been times where you've gone into businesses and have gone with your TVs, and it's kind of like it's kind of like invading those businesses. No different than if I got pests in my garden, I'm going like Japanese beetles or something I have to deal with, and they actually overpopulate so much in numbers that I have to go outside physically and sometimes throw them in a little cup of water with soap, because if not, they'll decimate the plant that I'm trying to grow to eat my fruits. If I wanted to be like, let's say 100% vegan. So like you invading the business would look, yeah. I just want to make.
Here is where the comment section was wondering where this guy's going with all this. This is at the point where he's got to state what his point is, and I think that's why Joey is going to is interrupting here.
Make sure that
You've got a lot of things on the table here, and you're giving some. There's a lot for me to unpack here, so can we do one at a time?
One at a time.
Because I feel like you're mixing a lot in here. You're mixing cat versus mouse, animals doing something in nature. You're mixing me invading businesses. You're talking about crop protection, and you're kind of. I feel like there's a bit of a meshing going on here. So you're saying you're not against veganism. You're saying you don't like to follow doctrines, or you're against kind of religious views and just blindly following dogma. You also said if you were going to stop eating animals, it would be for some reason that you where you view these animals as your brothers and sisters. It's more like they're sentient.
It's a realization.
It's a realization. Exactly. That's why I'm vegan, bro. That's why I'm vegan. Straight up. I'm not vegan because I listened to someone's religious view and said don't eat animals because I said and because it's right and wrong.
Yeah, only recently have I come to the realization of why I'm a vegan. I eat plant-based for health. But plant-based doesn't mean that you're against eating any animal products or that you won't do that. That is veganism. I'm a vegan for a different reason. You don't need to completely eliminate animal products to be healthy. I don't think anyone thinks that. But the reason I do it is to make a point.
I actually analyzed why it's wrong. And because this is why I'm vegan, just so you know. I value the experience of the sentient being. Okay, you're a sentient being. I'm a sentient being. We experience the world around us. I'm not against all killing. I will kill a person if I have to defend my family. If they're going to kill me, like what's this non-aggression principle, something like this. If I have to inflict some type of violence on someone to stop something horrible happening, I will do that. I'm not a complete pacifist. But animals are innocent. They're sentient like us. They have an experience, maybe not exactly the same, but what happens to them matters to them. So I believe that we should extend rights and protections to them because they can experience pleasure, pain, sentience, and they don't want bad things to happen. Unjustifiable with your question. I don't believe that gives us justification to act like animals act, by the way, if cats eat mice and things.
See, the whole thing is like look, for example, you see Tristan Tate and Andrew Tate. One is Muslim and the other one's Christian, but they're brothers, and they don't ever question each other's religion. They got their own like followings, their own beliefs and whatnot. Like I'm not religious at all. You know what I'm saying? I've got my own way of like religion to me is my own organization and my own structure as far as to how I get up in the morning and do things with eating, excretion, digestion,
like a discipline kind of thing, like habitual discipline where you go through like a
religious people. They come to your door, they try to convert you. They it's a lot of like they're asking like empty questions, and it's like it gets me because I'm like, where are these things coming from? And then upon dissecting them, just even asking them, I don't know how into metaphysics you are, because I know most vegans are not, but I'll ask them like, what they say, do you know where you go when you die? Then I ask them, well, what is the difference between the soul and the spirit? And they can't even answer that simple question, you know? Now, when it comes down to these little simple things where things can actually get a little bit more clear, you know, and just kind of not just go skip the line and say, oh, I want you to follow this, but you don't really know the root cause of why you're even there. You know what I'm saying? And then that's the reason why I asked that.
I do, but my friend, we don't have to get into metaphysics to analyze whether or not it's wrong to stab a pig in the throat for a sandwich. We don't have to do that. Like, basically, we're talking something a little more grounded here, a little more simple. Like, we're talking something like a normative ethical theory, not what you believe happens to us when we die, or is there a fire, things like this, right? Is up into pieces so we can have a fleeting burger. Do you think it's wrong in the case where we have other things to eat and we're not in some survival situation?
If you're looking at...
See, wait till you hear where he's going with this, though. Where I stopped, that's where I stopped. Woo. Oh, I want to save this for the live stream. I mean...
at it, yeah, from a moral standpoint, let's say what's moral to me may not be moral to you. I personally wouldn't do it because it's not programmed in me to do that. But if I was raised as a child to do that, it would seem normal to me. You get what I'm saying? But the whole thing is that all right. So let's talk about slavery for a second. You don't think that you have to be mentally enslaved before you can become a slave?
No, not at all. I'll just.
What is mental slavery?
And I'll just put a gun to your head and chain you up. But you don't have to be mentally enslaved in order to become a slave.
Right. Okay. Then vice versa. Let's say we're not looking at it linear. For example, like what is mental slavery to you? For example.
To me, I haven't really thought about this too much, but so that would be slavery or feeling entrapped by some type of fear. So if someone were to control me through coercion or fear, and then I'd feel enslaved in my mind that I could, you know, so like propaganda might do that, or some fear-based thing might make me.
The metaphysical part, for example, let's say, do you believe that somebody who does wrong deserves that wrong in return?
It depends. If someone does wrong, they definitely deserve to be stopped immediately. Do they deserve karma? It depends on what you mean.
Karma, let's say. Karma.
He's not going where you think he's going here. Oh, see, that sounds different to me now that I hear what he says next. Now that I know what he says. Yeah. Karma, but for who? I've never heard this before. This is.
Karma.
I think that would be a good way of stopping bad things from happening if there was some metaphysical force that delivered karma. I think it would have stopped me from doing bad things if there was some instant like feedback loop. It just depends what you mean by what that feedback loop is. Like, is it by me delivering the karma, or is it by some metaphysical force?
Okay, I don't want to get woo-woo over here or pseudo, because I know it's like we have to try to stay grounded, like you said. But
yeah, just before you go ahead, I'm going to let you go ahead, but I do want to say that this topic does not need to get out here. I just want to know, like, do you pay for this to happen to animals, and do you think it's justified? So I'll let you talk about this metaphysical point, because I know this is something that you're really
and then we can get on it.
Yeah, because I've got a big audience here who are interested in us getting down to the nitty gritty of the topic here. But go ahead, and then we'll see where.
Well, okay, so let's say if we get into a what if, right? Let's say if you're here, right? You're.
What? We'll get into what ifs and what aboutism. Wait till you hear what this guy is so woke about.
Here, let's say we got into the topic of reincarnation and whatnot, and then we ask about what we did in our past lives. There's many questions that you can't answer, right? Because you just really don't know. You don't even know what happens after you die. But supposing that these animals that are in these slaughterhouses and going through this pain and torture, what if they somehow in a past life did this, and this is what they are basically now having to experience based on what they did at one point? Would you still stand up for these animals? If that was the case, and that was like it was proven that that's exactly how it works.
Laughing.
Yeah, that's a really fucked up question. You know that, right?
Oh, see that See, I had stopped a few seconds back. And yeah, Joey, you said it.
Because I could.
I mean, it is.
The reason it's a fucked up question.
But you guys ask fucked up questions too, though.
Yeah.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Oh my God, that was all hitting me. He just acknowledged. Oh, I'm not the only one who says fucked up things.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Of course, yeah, we do, and I should taste of my own medicine, really. But I could say, I could just the reason the question is really messed up is because that's like hypothetically, like
Dangerous type of thinking, and yet it all boils down to the same old, going as woo-woo in the head as you need to go to continue to feel okay about eating meat. Look at how far this guy is contemplating going. It's entertaining some sick ideas. Wonder what people in history use that type of thinking to justify certain things.
yeah, you could be upset about this horrible mass shooting that happened to all these like preschool
Jews.
kids the other day. But what if those preschool kids actually did something wrong in a past life and they actually deserved it? Would you stand by that mass shooting then? The reason that's why it's such a fucked up question. Because if they are
Okay, this live stream will be unmonetized, so no need to play it safe anymore, people.
do that question in the wake of a school shooting, you're not gonna go, well, it's a fucked up question, because it's kind of like, what if that were the case, would you be in support of that? And basically that's like saying they did something wrong in a past life. Do I think that something bad should happen to them in this life? Well, no.
You could use that type of thinking to just wash your hands of everything that happens in the world, things that aren't even your doing. You can just say, that would be tempting for someone who has sociopathic personality and no ethics to be able to do. Just so nothing in the news will bother them at that point, because it's all for a reason. I don't like when people say that everything happens for a reason. Well, you should only take that so far.
Because they're a different being in this life. It's a clean slate.
Right.
Like, and that's if you believe in reincarnation. You have to presuppose so many different things before we got to that point that I wouldn't even be comfortable in I don't even see the utility in answering a question like that, because who cares is the answer. Yeah. Who gives a fuck? Because we can never prove that. There's no way.
We talk about sentience. Yeah, we talk about sentience, right? Your body is literally made up of trillions of cells, and these cells are sentient. They even have something called organ-like organelles. Okay, and when you observe these cells, for example, like you look, this is the reason why I'm getting to this, because we used to once fight. It was physical fighting. You called this an octagon. Like if we were gonna go head to head, we're battling words. Let's say if I smashed you in a debate. I know we're just talking shit. But let's say if I smashed you in a debate, somebody could be like, "Yo, Zigzag, good job, yo, you killed it. You killed him there." You know what I'm saying? Why do we use those words? Because it's like I'm going head to head with you. We're two opposing sides going head to head with each other with words, a war of words. And I can hurt you with these words, and some people may even attack your character aside from what you stand for. So if you say I am vegan, I'm literally attacking what your idea of you is. You get what I'm saying? So like, let's say somebody was born into a fucked up like lifestyle, and they're here, and they're like, what did I do to deserve this life? Right? These animals, do you ever ask like, okay, if they're in that existence, what was the lottery ticket that they were bred into existence to do that? Yeah, we have divine intervention.
So, and this happens. This happens. Is it okay for people to say, like say to black people, you should just accept the way you're treated? It's just let it go. Let it go. Don't waste your time protesting, trying to change social structure. Forget that wokeness. You don't need nothing to wake up from.
Intervention to stop those animals into breeding. That's the reason why I get into the metaphysical part, because either way, we're kind of debating here in a way where we're going against each other, right? But we're more or less sparring. It's not an aggressive fight. But you've seen people go at it where I've seen you on certain shows, like, you know, Piers Morgan's show, and he was attacking your character because he started to talk about your past being like a criminal and whatnot. But then he goes after the idea of what makes you. If he breaks you in that debate, then he literally killed you. Because your reputation would be tarnished. You're not credible anymore.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Like, yeah. Yeah, Piers Morgan. Yeah, I haven't heard about him. Well, that was like 5 years ago. He's been dead 5 years, ever since he was canceled on CNN. Yeah, he got destroyed so much.
Here, we measure everything by credit scores, even how we pay our bills and whatnot on a lower class. But on a higher class, let's say we want to do this.
I get what you're
Go
saying.
ahead. All right. I don't want to ramble on.
Like this, no, you're not rambling. You're saying some. You feel like you're saying veganism is part of my identity. I'm defending my identity when I defend the veganism.
But Joey chose to make veganism his identity. You know, black people, white people, men, women, they don't choose that identity unless you're born vegan, which we are not, most of us. We chose it. That's the difference.
Right.
I'm not defending. Yeah, it's an assumption. It's an assumption. I might actually. There might be aspects of this that are my identity. I'm an animal rights activist. Maybe my ego has taken a battering over the years, and actually I just truly found out that I just actually do care about this topic. And I can find out easily whether you're someone who cares about this topic too, with simple questions. Because I feel like we're getting a little bit lost into the woods with identity and with metaphysics, and with maybe animals did something bad in their past. You could say that about literally any atrocity that has ever happened to human beings, by the way. And I would not accept that without some very, very good evidence, and we don't have any. So we just basically saying what if. But like, when I asked you, is it wrong to stab a cow in the neck for a burger or something like that, shoot them in the skull so we can eat them? Is that morally wrong? You said, yeah, it is. So
it is morally wrong. Yeah, but I'm not because I'm not programmed that way.
But wait a second. I'm not asking for your programming. I'm just asking you, why do you pay for that to happen when you can easily not?
Well, you see, here's the thing. The same way that you kind of played God and did divine intervention, I live my own religion and structure where before I eat my food, right? Like they teach you this in school. You can't kill or destroy energy. You can only transfer or transmute it. It's like if you're giving me a big spill of negativity, I can transmute it by showing you the bright side of things, right? So this goes into the concept again of metaphysics of you are what you eat and what you eat becomes you. A lot of the times these animals going through that extreme conditions in those slaughterhouses, you're not just processing that complex chemistry in your body, you're processing the emotions of that animal as well. And then people start to ask themselves, why am I depressed? Why am I this? Again, there's no science to back that up. But then again, everything is to me in the mind. I've had experiences where I've had out-of-body experiences. And then if I ask you, hey, Joey, have you ever had out-of-body experiences? And you say no, you're going to just say what might.
I'll bet that is out-of-body experiences included out-of-mind experiences.
Claims are anecdotal claims, right? But why would you discredit my anecdotal claims if I experienced?
I have had out-of-body experiences, but I don't.
Well, that's a metaphysical
I
experience.
don't see what we're disagreeing with here about animals going through suffering in slaughterhouses and ingesting that energy or whatever. I just asked you why you support it, like why you buy it and why you eat the animals, and you said it was because
I'm not necessarily supporting it. I mean, we're in a realm where creation is created. If I empower my reality with all the negativity, I'm going to experience more of that negativity. Like if I'm into conspiracy theories and I go and start becoming a doomsday prepper, I'm more than likely to experience a doomsday apocalypse than somebody who's not really paying attention to that reality. Somebody may experience that in the comfort of their own home, just looking at it on the news, where I may be forefront because I've like lived that reality. You get what I'm saying? Like, basically you're making the choices and decisions to position yourself in what you're doing. But if you don't see it, in my opinion, you don't want to see it. You get what I'm saying? Because you're just pretty much looking at it from one side and not really looking at it from the big scope of things.
Yeah, I get you, man. Like, you're probably a little bit disconnected from the slaughterhouse to the burger. Like, obviously, I ate meat. How old are you, bro? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm 43.
43. You look young. You look very, very youthful. But yeah, I ate meat for 26 years, right? So I used to get big steaks cut off the side of it. I go into the butcher and get them to cut my T-bones for me, actually. And I know exactly what disconnect is. And I was big into karma and big into this, big into that. I was also a gang member and also a bit violent too. Like I was a violent gang member, went to prison, got sober, started to see that maybe there's other parts of my life where I'm being violent as well. And then I started to think to myself, how do I justify chopping an animal up into pieces so I can eat their body? That's their body. And, you know, I wouldn't accept it if it were dogs. I wouldn't accept it if it were humans. I see myself as a protector, someone who protects the innocent. And even as a gang member, I saw myself like that. You know, so what am I doing? You know, that's how it's simple.
So you're taking, that's my definition of God. You're taking authority over something. So you're basically being a protector. You're doing something where you're defending, let's say, your ideas or your moral systems, which is just basically all systems. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, like I said, it's all coming down to what you're doing and empowering in your reality. If you're empowering that, then you want to bring that and share it with everybody else. But let's say getting into a business to force other people to believe in that is kind of like being a pest in a garden. Like it's there, but you're always going to have some type of carnivore. Go ahead.
Let's talk about it then. You had a problem with me taking some TV screens. Do you have a problem? Like, let's say, is there a problem with me going into, say, a supermarket where there's a meat aisle and showing people that walk up what happens to the animals before they go to the meat aisle? Okay.
No.
So
I'm just observing.
It is being a little bit of a pest.
Yes.
But do you think it's justified behavior or unjustified behavior?
If you're standing by your doctrine, yes, it's justified behavior. It's just that I'm not attached to the idea of carnivorism or veganism. I'm looking at it from the observer of both sides. That's the reason why I have a YouTube channel. I grow fruits. Yeah. I have a garden. I got a
see, I didn't know that he made videos while watching this, and his channel's on the small side, and so I bet nobody knew. I just thought of it and went and looked.
Nice garden. I grow nothing but fruits, watermelons, grapes, all kind of berries. I love fruits, right? I'd rather eat fruits than eat meat. However, if I go to my mom's house and she prepares a dish for me that she prepared with love, that meal may be the healthiest meal I've ever had because of the energy signature it was prepared with. But if I go to somebody's house and they're preparing
more dangerous thinking. That's that would mess up a whole bunch of studies where they showed the relationship between diet and diseases like heart disease and cancer. And also, number one, the meat may be prepared with love, but the animal wasn't raised with love. Why shouldn't that make a difference? You could turn all this around on him. But really, it's a ridiculous type of thinking. Yes, the mind has an effect on everything, But so does everything else. Like, there's certain foods you don't feed your pets, because if you do, bad things happen.
You know, with hatred and like jealousy toward me and whatnot, that food may be unhealthy, no matter if it was the healthiest vegan diet on the planet. So if I'm growing out of my garden, I'm growing it with a passion of love because I love doing what I'm doing. But if these animals, for example, are being killed and whatnot, and then my mom goes to the supermarket, she transmuted that energy for me already. And I may even go and pray over my meal. And I'm not doing it from a religious concept. I'm doing it just from a higher faculty consciousness that I have over other animals. You get what I'm saying? This is why I try to separate the way certain religious people look at religion, which is inverted evil. If you look at it, it's just backwards, or the righteous.
No, brother, there's plenty to debate there. Like I'd like to unpack everything you just said there. So like, let me just throw a few analogies your way, and I'll see if you're actually consistent.
Yeah, I got to keep fast forwarding here. We got to figure this guy out before I eat lunch. Or I got to wrap this stream up soon, and we're not getting anywhere.
Pays the butcher to take this flesh from an animal. Let's just say they were tortured beforehand, and then they transmute that energy by praying over or delivering some type of love-based energy towards this corpse here before they cook it for you, and that kind of exonerates you from any wrongdoing. Okay, because that's what I'm asking. Does that exonerate you from wrongdoing if you transmute this negative energy before you eat it? Now, here's an example. Let's just say I went, let's change the universe here so we don't have to think about, it's illegal, this and that. Let's just change the universe a bit here. I just want to see if you're consistent. That's why I'm just delivering a bit of a hypothetical here. There's a bunch of, let's just say there's a bunch of, I don't know, like human beings there that just chilling. I walk up with a chainsaw, just chainsaw massacre the hell out of them in a real evil way. Chainsaw them up fully conscious into little chunks, pieces. And then I come back to your house with a basket full of chainsawed up human beings who'd suffered to death in the most horrific, vile way you could possibly think of, full of adrenaline and fear, their body parts are. That's how bad it was. And I take it back, and then we had a bunch of monks there that were like the most pristine monks, and we had them back at your house, and we took all the body parts in, and this wouldn't have happened.
Is he recycling this story? Seems like he has it down.
Without you, by the way. You paid me 10 grand to bring you back some meat, and that's what I did. All right, so we have to bring in the element of supply and demand, because this is what's happening to the animals. I bring it back. There's some monks there. They do a chant over the meat. All the bad energy's out, and you've given me my 10 grand. I've done the massacre for you, and we put that on the barbecue. Would you say, okay, even though I had some vegan food available, I see that as morally neutral, or as you said, not good or bad, just kind of just morally neutral.
Okay, let me. I get your idea. So let's start with this. When we talked about my mom cooking the animal for me, right? She's not doing it thinking about transmuting it, or it's just she's doing it out of a love frequency to begin with, only because she's in some form of harmony, but she's not thinking. That's when you know it's not.
Now, now I realize why people in the comments were talking about his mom. Okay.
Not coming from ego. See, this is the whole thing. When people are in religion, it's egotistical. It's not really spiritual. And if you're into religion, that's a metaphysical experience. But let's talk about now the body parts and whatnot. These humans are direct brothers and sisters to me. The animals would be more or less the way I would consider it, people outside of me. You are, let's say if you see in the news, oh, there was a mass shooting in the schools. Are you going to go home and sob and cry the same way if it happened to your mom? No, because it's not something that's immediate to you. You're not attached to it. But the whole thing is now, when we talk about is it morally wrong or right, I am programmed not to eat humans. If I was programmed from a child to eat humans, I wouldn't see the, let's say, the abnormality in it. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say. It's not like to say that it's right, we should go kill and eat humans. But the whole thing is, everything is neutral. Everything that we're saying is bad or good is from what we're programmed from the moment we came into existence to say is right or wrong. They tell you this in religion when we start reading the Bible, you know, don't treat your neighbor as you would yourself. But why? Because those are immediate. But if you do unto others, you're doing it out.
No, it's not because some immediacy. The reason it's because you're hurting people. And we just get people to be nicer by it's hard to get people to not abuse. It's hard to cut back on abuse in this world. So we use techniques such as being able to imagine it happening to you. This guy is just way out there.
Onto yourself.
Sorry, zigzag. It shouldn't
Yeah, yeah.
matter. I've exonerated you
Six.
from the negativity with our chanting monks. So
Oh, he was just saying zigzag. I thought he was I forgot the guy's name. I thought Joey was describing his behavior. Okay. Oh, things are adding up now.
those
Right.
corpses are now actually harmonied. They're vibrating.
But why the
with
monks?
love energy?
Why the monks?
Because
Why the
they
monks?
generated the love vibration to this.
No, but not monks.
tortured
I don't
flesh.
see monks. I don't see monks bigger than me though. That's somebody putting their power above somebody else. I don't care. I can see monks. I can see gurus. Those gurus are not bigger than me. I'm the only reason they even exist is because I'm collapsing them into existence with my attention. So
Okay.
the only person that really matters is me and what I do.
But you-
You know what I'm
okay, so is it morally justifiable to murder?
Oh man, he's stopping himself here. Yes. Disturbingly, I have heard of this concept.
A bunch of sentient beings, call them humans, they're humans, and let's say they're human beings. Is it morally justifiable to murder them so you can eat them? You pay me to do that if the meal was prepared with love.
Right. Well, this is the whole thing though. There's a loving building frequency, right? Which in my opinion is the real you. Like let's call it source. I'm not trying to get metaphysical or woo-woo. You have to it's see, that's what I'm saying. If we're going in too much into left brain intellectual stuff, it's hard to kind of mesh things in. And it's like you can't even be here unless we go into metaphysics to some extent. We go into the quantum field, even to basically
Oh man, getting ideas for a title here. I often have trouble with titles. You can only put in so much craziness into a title, because they only allow 100 characters. This guy. He's going into the quantum level to try to justify eating used animals. It's okay at the quantum level. Yeah, crazy. That is one heck of a quantum leap.
as potential for what's happening in your reality right now. So let's say, for example, if I'm looking at these, let's say these humans are direct aspects and mirror of myself through realization, right? Not because of just programming. Like I said, I've had certain spiritual experiences, which I'm not going to share over here because it's going to sound stupid, but some people might say there's no science to back that up. They're anecdotal claims. Like you said you had out of body experiences or no? How could you prove that? You can't prove that. You can only talk about it. And somebody who never had it can't even fathom that, because it's like, how the hell could you come out of body? You know what I'm saying? Like look, for you to come out of body and have had these experiences, you're going to go through a sleep paralysis. You actually have to put your body to sleep first. When people have a sleep paralysis, the first thing they try to do is physically move. When in actuality, they get scared and they get programmed.
You don't need to get into this, man. We
Let
really
me just
don't need
finish
to
that
get
one
into
last
sleep
point.
paralysis.
Just
We're
one last,
talking about
no,
different
just one
topics.
last point.
Okay.
I'm going to explain why. And I'm not trying to cut you off. I think where there's a little delay So if like you see that I'm talking, and I'm not trying to talk above you, so I'm not trying to like disrespect
Okay, I'm just
you.
trying to keep it on.
But
track,
let me just,
like for the.
I got
just
you.
Keep it on track. Okay, yeah.
Just one small thing I want to cover here because it's going to be to the point. If I have a sleep paralysis, you're programmed to think that that's a bad thing. Oh, demons are on top of you and whatnot. When in actuality, if you are aware that you're in a sleep paralysis, you feel yourself moving and you'll come right out. You get what I'm saying? So that's the reason why. It's just a certain way of doing things. If you're trying to do it from a physical standpoint, you're not going to get the outcomes that, oh, I can basically back this up and claim it here in this physical realm. You have to cover that only to kind of separate the right and left brain part of things.
I'm interested in the topic. I researched it a lot.
Yeah, I've heard plenty of this kind of talk from Deepak Chopra, going back to the 90s, but this has no place in veganism. No, the two don't go together.
Actually, sleep paralysis and all those different things. It's just not what I'm talking about right here. I asked you a question. Is it okay to slaughter a bunch of sentient beings in a horrific way if
I told you no.
is prepared?
I said no.
No, you didn't.
I'm not programmed to that.
Okay, so
I'm not programmed like that.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm not programmed like that.
So it's not. It's
but
not
based on programming, though.
One sec, because I just want to get this little. So it's not okay to slaughter the human beings if the meal is prepared with love. But when your mother brings you some meat back from the supermarket that is prepared with love, that's morally fine.
So is my mom an evil person?
No, I'm
if she
asking
cooks
you
a meal with.
That has nothing to do with it.
Because this question is about you, because you said when she does it, you'll eat that meat because it's been cleansed of energy.
Right. It's basically like if she's cooking it in like the most loving frequency, that's why we call it soul food. Soul food is not what you eat in the South as far.
Another thing he's missing is because that meat was bought a few days ago, that the purchasing with supply and demand, that tells the meat industry to replace that with more meat. It keeps the meat industry going. And because of that meat purchase, there are animals suffering right now because of you and your mother.
Like, whatever they want to eat, but I'm just saying soul food comes down to a deeper level.
And I just realized I could, this guy is not too big of a YouTuber, that he might actually see my video, maybe with some of our help. I'd like to get some answers to these kind of questions, but I don't think he could answer that question.
You know what I'm saying?
I get you what you're saying, bro. I'm just saying there's one case over here where I go and slaughter the human beings and then cook the food with love and however we cleanse the energy. You say that's not okay, but if your mum goes and pays for it down at the shops, you'll eat that because it is okay. I'm just saying there's a contradiction here. They're both the same kind of situation.
It's not okay. It's not okay or okay. That's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't really necessarily come down to a polarization of like an answer to that specific question. I asked if veganism was a religion, and it's like you can look at it from many different ways if it's a religion or not. But what's religion to one person is not religion to another. You know what I'm saying? I made those examples when we started this topic.
Okay, with you, do you think it's morally justifiable to eat animal products from the supermarket? Let's just say. I just want to go somewhere.
All right, that's a great question. Great question. I don't physically go buy meats in the supermarket for myself. But if my mom cooks it, I'm gonna eat it. You know what I'm saying? If I go to somebody's, I'm not attached to the doctrine. That's what it is. So if I was attached to the idea, I am. But unless somebody gives me a plate, and I'm not gonna deny the plate. If I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. You get what I'm saying? But I'm not
outside of your mom's house. You basically
right.
just
You're just that's why I told you. Right. That's why I said when we first started, this is a beautiful doctrine to be in. It's something where if it's coming from a true heart space, I mean, I believe from a pure heart space. I believe it's beautiful to be vegan, but it's not like we could say, you could perceive a priest, let's say, to be the good guy because he's like preaching about God. But you know how many priests I see
He should ask some different questions. Move on. One thing he could say is, we have in the United States about 1 million laws. There's certain things you can't do. There's a lot of things you can't do. Should these factory farms be allowed to exist? Since they're abuse factories, no one would agree. No one should be able to agree with that. Then from there, we can get somewhere, because we're really stuck in here. This
Actually, like being pedophiles and doing stupid things that they're not supposed to do. That doesn't.
Yeah. What if there was a factory for that? You'd want to shut it down. But there isn't one. What if someone wanted to create one? You wouldn't allow it. But if it already exists, or maybe those things are in other countries, is that okay for them? For some medical, physical reason, metaphysical.
Go with their religion.
Yeah, I get you. I hear you. I feel
Okay.
you.
So that's what I'm saying about
I'm just
vegans.
a little bit. I'm just a little bit shocked and stunned that you actually are a plant-based eater outside of your visiting your mum.
Right. I am.
Like-
I eat fruits. I love fruits. And I'm
Okay,
not
so you're-
concerned with protein. I work out
So,
and I can grow
Yeah, you look-
muscles just eating fruit.
yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. So, I thought that you were just a conventional kind of meat consumer.
No, I'm not.
Didn't have any. And why don't you eat meat outside of your mum's house?
It's not. It's something I just don't really care to eat. It makes me feel heavy. It makes me feel a little bit more inflammation. This is just for me. You get what I'm saying? It just doesn't
Okay.
really sit well with me, and it's not something that I'd rather just see. It takes so much energy to process something like that. And I'm aware of the hormones and steroids and the drugs they put these animals in. So it's like I just don't feel like consuming that. Even the fruits. That's why I said even the fruits I grow are totally different than the ones you grow in the supermarket.
I hear you. So it's completely selfish reason. Not to be rude or anything, but it's a self-centered reason.
Okay, well, it is, because if I'm good, then everybody else is good. It's kind of like somebody saying, put your oxygen mask on first. If I'm mentally straight, I feel like everything in my life will be mentally straight too.
Yeah, I'm not trying to insult you or anything. I'm just
No, no insult taken. Those are genuine questions.
It just sounds like a self.
Ask me any.
What he said there, everything in my life will be straight. Maybe that's the problem here. He's only thinking about himself. But we're talking about others who get abused. That might be what he is not thinking about. And you might say, how could that be? Well, I think every other person has sociopathic personality. It's just there. It's not something they can control. You're either a person with selfishness or you're not.
Any question, ask me any question without feeling any kind of way. I'm not going to get offended.
That's cool. I'm just saying, you take issue with animals being mass bred, confined, decapitated for human beings. Do you take issue with that?
Right. So check this out. If I see something in my immediate reality happening, I'm going to stop it, because it's like, wow, what the hell are you doing, bro? You know? But if it's happening on a global scale, yeah, you would have to actually be part of, you would have to have that badge of veganism and go do that, which there's nothing wrong with it. That's what you're about. You get what I'm saying? But forcing it on others, I feel like that's...
I just ask if you take issue with it. That's all.
Okay, we're getting somewhere here. Going back.
No, I don't.
want to hear what he said about forcing. Like I said, we have 1 million laws. A whole bunch of things are enforced.
I feel like that's...
I just ask if you take issue with it. That's all.
No, I don't. No, I do take issue with the... Yeah, I do take issue. I think it's a horrible thing to do. because I'm not programmed that way. Again, I'm going to go back to the programming since I was a child. You know what I'm saying? I can break those programs. I can live.
Okay, I didn't go back.
You get what I'm saying? But forcing it on others, I feel like that's...
There it is. Forcing it on others. I wish this fallacy were called out more by vegans. When they say, it's not right to force people to live by your blah, blah, blah. But we all do it. A million laws that we live by, and most, I'd say everyone agrees with almost all of those laws, including those fools that you argue with who don't believe in forcing. And you know, the factory farms are already breaking the existing laws. They're just allowed to do it. It's kind of like integrated into our system. And also the industry is too big to fail.
I just ask if you take issue with it.
I do take issue. I think it's a horrible thing to do because I'm not programmed that way. Again, I'm going to go back to the programming because this is how you
stop him from going back to that.
Change yourself. Let's say, do you ever hear people say that they're poor and they want to be rich? They can reprogram their mind to abundance consciousness. I can program myself to hate animals and start killing animals. Your body's like a computer. You get what I'm saying? And that the only reason I spoke about the sentient cells is when you're debating somebody, you're technically going up against that person, and if that person's under severe stress, like let's say you got that person cornered, or they're attacking your character and they're starting to feel a certain way, a bunch of cells are dying. You're literally creating mass murder there to begin with without even realizing. Just like the cat doesn't realize it just killed the mouse in the garden, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't go.
And now when you look at, like I've also heard about people saying, oh, bivalves and clams and whatnot, and oh, these things aren't sentient. Well, I mean, your body, if you really dissect it to the most minute level, you're basically made of bacteria and viruses, more than you are human. But when we look at it on the cellular level, those are sentient cells.
It depends on how you define sentience, right? It just depends on how you.
So what is sentience?
For me, it's being able to have a subjective experience.
It's funny when you think about how far this guy is going. I've never heard anyone distance themselves so much from cognition. It's funny.
Like, but, so like what we're having right now, a subjective experience. You're a subject inside of a conscious experience.
Exactly.
But I don't see bacteria as having a subjective experience because they are
right.
What
not
I would
bacteria, cells.
Yeah, I don't think cells are. Cells might contain some type of energy, but I don't. That's not what I define as sentient.
It doesn't matter. Like, why are you putting so much energy? It doesn't matter. Like, if things matter to me, they're materializing my life, but I'm stressing myself.
Let's go back and hear this.
Yeah.
Say see how people say, hey, bro, it doesn't matter. Like, why are you putting so much energy? It doesn't matter. Like, if things matter to me, they're materializing my life, but I'm stressing myself out because I'm not aware of what's potentially real or not real. I can make something very real by how much matter and energy I put into it.
I get you. There's something called the placebo effect and the nocebo effect, where
like
they
glad you brought that up.
Scientific studies. Yeah, that's fine. That's all cool. This is all great stuff. Great stuff to talk about. Good.
Then why would he stop people from abusing?
Topic, but yeah. So you have an issue with me telling people they shouldn't. Oh.
See, like I was saying before, it seems like he would only stop it. Remember, he would say he would only stop it. He wouldn't prevent it, or on a global scale, he'd only stop it if it was in front of him. Because he doesn't like how it's affecting him. This is sociopathic personality.
pay for animals to be in this eternal mass murder, decapitation, horror story? Do you have an
Brother,
issue with me going out telling people this?
If I had an issue with you doing that, I would actually create my own organization to try to like attack you. But I'm not attacked. See, the reason I even jumped on is just to put things into perspective as, like, let's say something that's not really seen from the vegan community. I'm not here to try to like tell you what you're doing is wrong or right. You get what I'm saying? I think what you're doing is great. You're doing something. Look, if you're doing something with passion, you might have misunderstood me. But look, if you're doing something with passion, I support you. I think what you're doing is a phenomenal thing because you're doing it with love and passion. You know how many people have jobs that they don't want to do? And then that's what I'm talking about. Like, they're putting themselves through certain stresses because of it's an ignorance. They're not aware that they can do better by just tapping into something. You were once a criminal. You said you were doing bad things. You had a realization that you had a passion for something. You started to do it. And it's a beautiful thing. You created a big following, started making money. I applaud people who make money and start doing things with a passion. You know what I'm saying?
So he doesn't applaud people like me who put in the same amount of effort 10 years now on YouTube, but just aren't making money. I must have done something wrong. It's my fault. Maybe a past life.
And that's why I said I don't have a problem with what you're doing. I love what you're doing, except I'm putting things into perspective because I speak to vegans. And this is why even in the comments I said I'd rather have a discussion with you about it to see where your points of view are. So not to say that what you're doing is bad or good.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I think that what I'm coming up against is like some of the most horrible, horrifying, disgusting, bad thing I would think would just make you sound like a fucking insane lunatic. If you especially knew the depths of what we're talking about here. If you watch the movie like Dominion, or if you've seen some of the investigations I've conducted myself, if you went into a factory farm, okay, great. Then you know that.
Oh, wow. I can't even watch those. See, I can't watch those things because I am an ethical person instead of sociopathic. I am empathic. And so I can't watch those without it bothering me so much. And he can watch them. And not have a problem with it. Maybe because, well, that's all on film, and it happened in the past.
Following you for a little while. I've been watching your content. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Great. Then we don't have to just debate about whether or not it's bad, which I'm happy about too, because that says a lot about your character that you're not trying to defend the indefensible, because a lot of people do actually. I don't see us disagreeing much more. I would suggest. I don't see us disagreeing at all. I think we've got a little bit off topic. You have a lot of big meta conversations to have. You see things a lot with a bigger scope.
More expensive.
Veganism.
The only reason I'm saying is I know it's a simple thing, but here's the thing, though. Let me just close up with this first. When you look at religions and you really dissect each and every one of the religions, you'll see that they're actually talking about the same thing. Like you'll hear the story of Jesus Christ. You'll hear the story of Krishna. It's like they all had 12 disciples, died for 3 days, came back and resurrected. It's the same thing in different characters. So they're blue in the face, backing up their claims how it's the healthiest meal, right? But then again, like you just said, it's how I eat it and how I receive it into my deed. Oh, I just planted a seed in that person's mind. You want them to convert based on something that you're doing by programming them, by planting a seed that may grow, because they might hear other things based on what you just planted. So now they're aware. Yeah. That's a mind virus. Yeah. That's a mind virus.
To be stabbed in the neck. I'm not trying to propagate seeds into their mind and take over their mind. I just want them to stop doing something horrific through their actions, which is a simple change. I mean, yes, we can get into like whatever, some meta conversation. I'm just like, it's a very fundamental, hey, is it wrong to stab animals in the neck for a sandwich?
Right here, Joey should ask him, do you think we should have a legal system here in the U.S. with laws?
Thanks very much. I'm not going to change me as a person. I'm still going to be into all my spiritual stuff, eat my fruits. I'm just not going to eat corpses of tortured animal bodies who didn't want to die and didn't want to be born into suffering in factory farms, and not make up any silly excuses that we can't prove, like they did something bad in a bad life, in a past life or something. And everyone that has something horrific happen to them obviously did something bad in a past life. Like, I just don't think that that's a very helpful discussion, a helpful justification for. I don't think it's a justification.
It's not.
It's a way of proving it. Yeah.
It's not, but it also disempowers you to some extent, because it's kind of like saying you can't think outside the box because you only have to like basically see what you see and that's it. Sometimes the unseen is not seen because you're not seeing it. It's just like if I want to buy a car and all of a sudden now I start seeing the car everywhere. It's not to say the car was never there. The car was there. It's just that I'm aware of it now. That's why I say when you're planting something in your mind, you're going to start to see it. Everything is there. Reality and creation is already created. Everything's done. You're just not seeing certain things. That's what I'm saying. And that's the reason why I think I would like to have a further discussion. It don't even have to be online or offline. I don't really care for the clout or anything like that. I genuinely wanted to have this discussion with you. Because like I said,
I appreciate you. I appreciate you stopping by. And I think we did. We had a good discussion. I don't think we're disagreeing all too much. It doesn't seem like. So I think I'm going to do the deed and end it there. But thank you for. I think it's been an hour. But thank you. It's been like nearly an hour, dude. Like, it's been a long time. So thank you for stopping by.
Good topic. It's good.
I'm going to find someone I actually do disagree with a little bit more, and appreciate you enlightening us with with a different kind of conversation, one I didn't expect. And take care and enjoy your YouTube channel. I hope that you.
Man. Go ahead, bro.
We're
good. Thank you. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you letting me on.
No worries, brother. Take care. See you later. Okay, let's kick studio guest. Okay, so it doesn't seem like me and Zigzag were really like disagreeing too much. I just wanted to see if we could get to some type of point of agreement. It seemed that we were pretty much agreeing, mostly. Like, he had some meta conversations and some spiritual stuff he wanted to talk about. I think we got a little bit off track every time we kind of tried to get it back on track. We were getting off track, but that must be how Zigzag talks. He just likes to get into like some deeper realm where I'm not really at right now. You know, but yeah, I think he's a nice guy, and I think he was very polite and respectful, and yeah, he seemed really nice. What's up, Taryn? Yeah, Tristan has been saying some stuff. Yeah, cool. Okay, let's go. So Tristan Tate has been making posts. Let's go to Tristan's channel here. Tristan Tate. So Tristan, great. Let's present. Shall we present? Okay. Great. Let's present. Shall we present? Is it okay to present my tweeter? Yep, we can present my tweeter. Okay, let's present my tweeter. Is that what it's called? So Tristan Tate has said just 57 minutes ago.
Presenting his Twitter. Okay. Stop it there. Not much more to say. So any comments? I'm going to take a look here. Nope, it's unanimous. Well, anyway, I'll be keeping this video up for people to see. So whenever you are watching, post a comment. Maybe share this video. But really, you should check out my other videos. Yeah, I just put up one, I think it was yesterday. It's doing pretty well. Frankie goes vegan. People were talking about it. This video turned out really good. Just 12 minutes long. Not like this one. Really solid. Packed with interesting stuff. And then the video before that is Frankie eating oats. And some talk about if oats, what are the problems with oats? Some people have. Which is also the video before. There was some old longevity dude saying not to eat oats. But he also says that he looks my age. Check that guy out. See what he looks like. Oh, man. Probably. Okay, I've had it. So we're gonna end the stream now, and coming up in like a couple days, one or 2 days, got another video for you, another reaction video, where I'll have this same setup here that I've got set up. I'm gonna be filming it soon, but I'll be reacting to something much different, just for some variety. Yes. Okay, I'll see you later. So subscribe and turn those notifications on. My content's just sitting there. Sitting there, man, waiting. Some good stuff. Look, one of the reasons I've lasted 10 years is because I entertain myself so well. I wish I was one of my viewers. And yet I'm not popular. I'm popular. It's weird. Okay. I'm out.